Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor, for those of you who have never been here before, and in today's video we are going to be talking about some tips for playing Rags to Riches in The Sims 4. Rags to Riches is a challenge where your sim starts off on a lot with no money and they kind of just have to build up their life, can't even get a job until they have a house, so you end up having to find interesting ways to earn income in the game. This is one of my favorite ways to play The Sims 4 because I'm one of those players that thinks that once your sims have tons of money the game gets very, very boring. Before we jump into the video, if you enjoy it at any point, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let's jump into the ideas for how to improve your game when playing Rags to Riches. My first idea for this is that if you have The Sims 4 cats and dogs, living in Brindleton Bay is one of the better locations for doing a Rags to Riches, especially if you're near the dog park. I found that there are the most dig locations in this area and a ton of opportunity to be able to make money early on. There's also quite a few spots to find frogs. If you've played Rags to Riches before, you know that frogs and dig locations and those little rocks are some of the best ways to earn income because you don't really have anything else yet. There's also a ton of plants just scattered around the world in Brindleton Bay that you can bring back to your lot and plant and earn income that way. So I find that Brindleton Bay is definitely one of the best places. You could probably also do it now in The Sims 4 Cottage Living with Henford on Bagley and have that be a pretty good location as well, but I've always had success in Brindleton Bay. The next thing you should definitely do once you get your sims settled on their lot is to turn off your sims' autonomy. You don't want them to go to a park and start grilling and waste your money, or do any other tasks that may cost your sims money. You want them to just pay attention to what you want them to do, and this can be found in your game settings. If you turn it off, you'll be able to completely control how they spend every penny, because there's nothing worse than having like 14 simoleons and your sim goes and spends all 14 on a plate of grilled food at a park. It's so annoying and it literally makes me so mad every time it happens because I always forget to do this, so it's definitely a good idea if you are playing Rags to Riches. As you go through the game, you're going to end up finding a lot of different kinds of plants and you want to bring those back to your lot and plant them, or if you're really hungry, get your sims to eat them. You definitely don't want to just sell them immediately. You want to make sure that you are planting them because planting them will earn you more income long term and be a more sustainable way for your sims to live, and then you can actually get the food from there instead of having to go out and buy it with money you don't have. So if you end up with a giant garden outside of your very tiny home, eventually you can earn quite a bit of money that way, and it's honestly one of the best ways to play The Sims. Live off the land, off the grid, enjoy yourself. You can also turn on the off the grid lot trait so that your bills are a little bit lower once you do have a home, and use all of the off the grid furniture to make life a little bit easier since you can't actually get a job yet. The next thing you want to do, if you have The Sims 4 Tiny Living, one of the best stuff packs in my opinion, you want to go in and add some tiles. This is actually a free thing you can do, but to make your house tiny home residential. This is really important because you'll gain skills more quickly, your bills will be lower, your sims will be happier, and your relationships will gain faster, and all of those things are very valuable in a Rags to Riches series. And honestly, the tiny living bonuses are just so good, and you can get so much more done in such a short amount of time if you have these turned on. Just chef's kiss. They are beautiful. The next thing is breeding frogs. Now, one of the easiest ways you can earn income is to actually breed frogs. You'll find frogs all around a ton of the worlds in these little log things that they're quite cute. And you can find frogs in there. They'll end up in your inventory and you can breed them every few hours to earn income by selling the ones that you are breeding. If you end up with a frog that's worth 100 simoleons, you definitely want to breed that one because it's more likely to give you higher value frogs. There are a lot of frogs that are like 10 simoleons. Those aren't worth as much, obviously, but if you end up with one of those and a 100 simoleon frog, breed them together, you might get something in the middle, which is very valuable, and you don't have to actually have your sims do any work for it. You can actually breed frogs while they're sleeping. This is something you can definitely use early on to earn an income that's really not that difficult. One of the best hacks for eating in The Sims 4 when you're playing Rags to Riches is to go to any park in the game and try to find someone who's grilling. Sims will autonomously grill rather often. There used to be a little glitch in the game where they were doing it like a lot and leaving food everywhere, and that was like the best time to be doing a Rags to Riches challenge. It doesn't happen quite as much now, but you will oftentimes in the middle of the day see sims at parks or any of the random grills around the world just making food, and you can just go over, take a plate, enjoy yourself. It's a really good way to hack the system, and so you don't have to actually spend money on food. Another way to feed your sims is to go to any kind of bar and just ask for chips because they're not expensive. You don't have to pay very much for them. Any of the meals are kind of expensive and it's not really worth it, but chips, grilling food, good ways to make money. Also eating any of the gardening things after you've already planted them and grown them yourself. In addition to growing vegetables, you want to make sure that if you are playing with The Sims 4 Seasons installed, that you add a roof on top of anything that you are doing. You don't actually have to have walls to add a roof. You can kind of cheat the system and just add a roof on top of your garden so that they aren't affected by the seasons in the game. That way they can grow all year long and you can earn more money / have more food from your garden. Because honestly, having to deal with seasons is very annoying when you're just trying to make money to survive. The next thing is that you really shouldn't worry about getting walls. That sounds a little bit weird. Obviously, eventually you want to have a home that has walls that protects your Sims if you do have seasons from the elements and makes them feel safe. But walls aren't the most important thing in the world. You can definitely start out by just having a toilet, a sink, a bed, a shower, and a mini fridge, and just hope for the best. If you do have seasons and it rains, you might end up having to fix your mini fridge or any electronics that you have, which is kind of a pain, but honestly, the cost of walls is way too much, and early in the game you're not going to be able to afford them, so I would definitely focus on getting all the things your Sims need to survive as opposed to paying for walls. Not really the biggest deal to have walls, to be honest. I guess this one should have been at the beginning of the video, but when you're making your Sim, the traits you choose can actually impact your game quite a bit. Obviously, one that a lot of people would add is loves the outdoors, because these Sims are going to be spending quite a bit of time outside to start off, so loves the outdoors is always a good option. Another one you may want to add is the creative trait or the perfectionist trait, because these will help if you're doing painting, which is one of the best things to do in a rags to riches, because you can make a lot of money later on from painting and having a high painting skill. Another one that might be very good to add is the kleptomaniac trait, because then you can go in and just steal things from other Sims. It's beautiful. My next tip is to not have babies early, because it's just going to make the game way harder. You're going to need way more things and your Sims will not have as much time to try to make money. So don't go ahead and just start trying to have a giant rags to riches family, because that's very difficult. You want to at least have walls by the time that you have babies. That should be a given for any real life situation. So maybe make that in The Sims as well. You at least need to have a home for your Sims to live in, and don't just have your babies living outside, because that's really sad. And my final tip is to get a money-making hobby early on. One of the best things you can spend your money on is the digitalistic sketchpad, which came in a free update around the time of City Living, I believe, when we got the style influencer career. This cost 750 simoleons, so it is an investment, but it is way more profitable for you than using an easel. You can make so many paintings so quickly with this sketchpad. They end up right in your Sims inventory. You can queue up the interactions and have your Sims just paint and paint and paint over and over again and sell them for a very, very good profit. This is a lot better than having the easel, because the easel takes a lot longer and you can't queue them up back to back because they do just sit on the easel. You have to actually go sell them or put them in your Sims inventory. The sketchpad puts them immediately into the inventory so you can queue up the interactions, earning more income and having it a little bit more on autopilot. This is a really great way to earn income when you're playing rags to riches. And honestly, it's kind of fun to paint pictures and then pick your favorites and decorate your home with them, because it is a little bit expensive to try to actually pay for art in your home in The Sims 4. So maybe don't do that and spend your money on things that matter. Big brain energy. So those are all my tips for starting a rags to riches in The Sims 4. If you have any other tips, be sure to leave them in the comments down below, because I'm sure that other people would love to read them. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really hope you're having an amazing day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.